Real quick before we start, we've streamlined our contact info. From now on, if you have any questions, feedback, or ideas for future guests, just shoot us an email at chat62podcast@gmail.com. That's chat62podcast@gmail.com. All right, let's fucking go. Today on the podcast, we're sitting down with Marine1169, a retired United States Marine with over 21 years of service who's continued to represent the Corps long after hanging up the uniform. Many of you know him from social media, but behind the handle is a Marine who's lived the full arc: active service, leadership, transition, and life after the Corps. In this conversation, we're not talking algorithms or internet fame. We're talking about identity, brotherhood, adapting after service, and what it really means to carry the title of Marine into the next chapter of life. This is a Marine-to-Marine conversation, honest, grounded, and earned. Welcome to Chat 62. So, who was Marine1169 prior to the Marine Corps?
Prior to the Marine Corps, I was just I'm from New York originally, grew up there, and was just a young kid, was in a choir, football team, and just stayed out of trouble. And always wanted to join the military and everything. And my mom did not want me to join the military. But my dad was in the Army. He was in the Army doing right at the end of Vietnam. So he didn't go to Vietnam. They sent him to Germany and everything. And I was just always interested in the military. I originally wanted to go Air Force because I wanted to be a pilot, like all little kids, wanted to be a pilot. And then I read something that at the time you needed to have, I had glasses, I wore glasses, and my vision was bad. And you couldn't wear glasses to be a fixed wing pilot. And I knew everything about aircrafts. And when I found that out, I was like, you know what? One day I'm going to go in the Marines instead. And so started looking into the Marines, and it was really interesting to me and stuff like that. And talked to my dad about it, and he was like, oh, join the Army. And so eventually after high school, my mom was like, go to college just for a year, junior college. And I said, oh, okay. So I did that. And then when I got that first report card or grades and stuff, it said academic dismissal up there. And I was like, oh, hell no. So I went up to my dad and said, hey, I'm going to join the military. And he was like, I paid for you. He didn't know about it. He's like, I paid for your school and everything. And now you want to join the military? He said, all right, did you tell your mom? I said, no, I didn't tell my mom. So he said, I'll tell her. And so right after that, I remember she called me into the dining room and she said, you're not going to join the military. And I said, I'm joining the military. I'm 19. I'm joining the military. And she's like, you're not. And she chased me around the coffee table and like the dining room table it was. She chased me around it back and forth. And I was like, I'm joining. And I wound up joining. And she didn't talk to me for like 2 or 3 weeks, man. 2 or 3 weeks, she didn't talk to me. And then eventually my dad was like, he kept saying, like, I'm going to take you to go see my Army buddy, this Army officer over here and this and that. I said, why are you telling me about the Army? I'm joining the Marines. He's like, you joined the Marines? You sure you could do that? I said, oh, hell no.
It's on now, right?
Yeah.
You doubt me? I'm going to show you.
Yeah. So I wound up joining the Marines, and it was a eye-awakening experience.
How was your mom when she finally reconciled her feelings 2 or 3 weeks later? And
yeah, so I left. I was supposed to leave. I was in the delayed entry program. This is in 1994. Right, 1994, and she kind of reconciled with it. But when I was leaving, she was the one giving me the hugs, and my dad wanted to give me the hugs and stuff like that. And I actually left a little bit early because my recruiter was like, "Hey, I remember you wanted to leave early," so I was like, "Yeah, all right, yeah, I'll do it." So I wanted to leave early, probably about 4 months early, and went to boot camp November 30th of 1994.
Oh, so you're coming across the 31st anniversary, right?
Something like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't even realize it. Yeah.
I went in November of 1996, November 4.
Ooh-wee. really?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're a couple of old school vets right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you said your mom was the one giving you the hugs, giving you the goodbyes, and your dad was kind of more stoic.
No. He was giving me hugs too.
Okay.
And my dad never really hugged me. He never. I don't really remember him hugging me. And when I was leaving out the door with the recruiter, he was trying to give me a hug, and I was like, "Oh, get away from me!"
What's this feeling?
I'm out of here.
So did you end up taking the bus ride down to San Diego?
Oh no,
I'm sorry, you were in New York, so you went
New
to
York.
Parris
I
Island.
went
My
to
bad.
Parris Island. Yeah. Went to Parris Island. Took the flight down there, and they get you at the airport, and then you see the drill instructors come in at the airport, pick you up. Yeah, they pick you up, take you down. They had like a room in there at the airport, take you into this large room, give you some sandwiches or drink, and then they feed you, and then the bus comes, and then they put you on the bus, and then they drive you down to Parris Island, which is a long ride from that airport. And then when you come into Parris Island, which is so weird because San Diego, California has palm trees. San Diego has palm trees for some reason. I don't know why. And you come through the gate, and then you see these trees, and it's just a long road with water on both sides. And then you just drive onto the island and get off on those those footsteps and everything, and that's it.
And what's going through your head as you're in that bus and you're heading towards Parris Island?
Oh, like, what the hell am I getting? I didn't even say what the hell am I getting myself into. I just drove. It was like, you didn't know what you were getting yourself into. So it was just like, wow, what's going to happen next? I watched all the videotapes. I watched Full Metal Jacket like 100 times before I went to boot camp. I kind of think I know what's going to happen. When's the haircut coming up? And it was literally just like the videotapes, Full Metal Jacket kind of in the beginning. You roll through, get there, they pull you up to the building, the drill instructor comes on to the bus, gives his little speech, welcome to Parris Island, blah, blah, blah. My name is Staff Sergeant so-and-so, and they do the little spill, and you're like looking like, oh crap. And then they tell you, get off the bus, and then you get off the bus, get on your little footsteps, and then they take you in to the processing, make that one phone call to your parents, if on the rotary phone, if they're there, and everything, just to let them know you're there. And then I think we were getting haircuts after that or something. 48 hours, 72 hours, no sleep,
So what was Parris Island like in 1994?
It was hot. I went through 3 seasons there. It was hot. It'll be hot one day. I just remember later on, like in maybe December, January, it snowed. And then after that, it was, the weather changed again. So everybody was always sick.
Oh yeah,
because of the weather and everything like that. They'll tell you wear your PT gear and everything, like your jogging pants, jogging shirt, your beanie and everything. When you line up to get ready to go run, then they tell you to take everything off, and you're like, what? what? And only thing you're doing is running. You're running your you're not even a sweatshirt. You took that off too. You just running your your skivvy shirt and your PT shorts and no beanie. Oh, hey, they'll let us wear the beanie sometimes. But yeah, so it was Parris Island was just it was everything in the videos. Everything in the videos pretty much, except all that the bad hazing and stuff like that. If they wanted to haze you, they would take you into the gear locker and individually, and they would punch you in the stomach in there or whatever. I remember I got punched in the stomach coming out of the gas chamber by the drill instructor. Man, it was by my favorite drill instructor too. So
oh no, that had to be heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was interesting, very interesting.
And were there any challenges during your time in boot camp?
Yes. Well, I was on the shorter end, of the platoon, so I was always in the back trying to catch up, and everything like that, doing like the hikes or the humps we used to call it and stuff back then and everything. So, and throughout my entire career, I've always hated humps. I hated it all the way into like when I retired as a gunny. I'm like, why the hell are we doing this, man? We got freaking trucks. We doing in Iraq and Afghanistan. Well, in Afghanistan, I'm like, damn, they fly everywhere now. They usually don't take vehicles. They do sometimes, but convoys. But It was just like, why are we going up here? Why are we hitting this hill? I was always complaining and stuff like that, like to myself.
Yeah.
Of course. But it was just like, God damn, we're going up this hill again. That was the biggest challenge for me. And then being away from home. At the time, I was never away from home, other than going down to like, like South Carolina or being from New York, going down to South Carolina, North Carolina. My parents are originally from there. So going there and staying there for like a month with family and everything like that. So that was as long as I was away from home. So it was just being away from home, being away from my, my mom or my dad. That was the biggest challenge. Other than the hikes, the running I got through that.
So you were physically capable of completing all the tasks that were thrown your way.
Oh, yes.
Let's go ahead and let's talk about graduation because we got a lot to cover. So we're gonna breeze through boot camp.
Might need a refill,
right? Yeah, definitely, dude. That's why I brought my bottle just in case.
Yes,
just in case. So you guys don't have a crucible during that time. So what is your ending ceremony like? Or do you guys have one?
Ending ceremony was when was that? That was where they actually give you the Eagle Globe and Anchor. That was the day of. We did a fun run. That's what it was. We did a fun run around Parris Island. Your parents are there, and everybody watching you. You're not released to them yet. And then you go clean up and everything. And then they hold a ceremony, which was they give you the Eagle Globe and Anchor, the drill instructors. And then after that, they marched us through the main part of Parris Island. And you have all the families and everybody lining up and stuff like that. And then you get released to your loved ones for a couple hours, before you have to head back to the barracks because you're now a Marine. So that you kind of you're allowed to walk from point A to point B by yourself individually, but you had to be back in those barracks. And then the next day was graduation.
And what was graduation day like for you?
Graduation was one of the best things that I ever went through. Real emotional. People that you never met before became your brothers. A lot of them you got even closer to. You connected in a lot of different ways. There's people that never met other cultures and races and before, and now they they're hanging together and just looking out after each other in boot camp and stuff like that. And then you got the other platoons, and you're always against the other platoons. And I just remember, we were always butting heads and stuff like that. And it was on the day before graduation, I think it was. The other platoons wanted to come and like fight with us and stuff like that. They were upstairs from us. And I just remember standing there going like, y'all need to just freaking chill. We're graduating. We're Marines now, and just make no freaking sense of fighting and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And they listened. And then everybody just got along after that. And then a couple of those people wound up going to MOS school with me, and we became friends in MOS school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Became really good friends at MOS school and everything. But, it's just like graduation is like one of the best things in the world. It's hard to explain unless you actually done it. The feeling that you actually feel, and if you're a person that said you never cried in your life, you either cried in boot camp, shed some tears in boot camp, or you shared it during graduation because it's real emotional. It's something that all Marines had gone through. Those old Marines way back then, until the Marines that's doing it now, it's pretty much the same exact thing that you go through and everything. So it's really, really emotional. Other services, I'm pretty sure they go through it too. But with Marines, we got a lot of pride. They instill a lot of pride in you. When they say Marines are cocky, yeah, we're fucking cocky. Yeah, but there's a reason. We take a lot of pride in everything.
Amen.
So whether you were in for 2-3 years or freaking 30 years, it's it's the same feeling.
Yeah, that's very true. And were your parents there on graduation day?
Yes. And my mom gave me the hug, and my dad too, and then it was just like, okay, what's next? And then I just remember we drove to another part of South Carolina. I went to pick up my sister. My sister didn't come because she had chickenpox.
Oh, okay.
She had just gotten over chickenpox. we went to go pick her up from my aunt's house, and then I was like, I'm just want to go home to New York. Went home to New York, and it was just like, okay, this is boring. I'm very bored. I don't know what to do. I just remember sitting there in my room, not knowing what to do because I didn't have those friends anymore. I didn't have the drill instructors telling you what to do all the time. You know, here I am on my own now. So it's just like, oh, okay, let this be over, you know. And I wasn't on the infantry side, so I went to MCT, Marine Combat Training, down in North Carolina. So I was like, I can't wait to that. I go to that, you know, just to get back. You know, I was just bored, you know, didn't know what to do. Back in that scenario again and being bored. That's why I joined the Marines, you know, also too. I wanted to leave home. I was interested in the Marines, military, period. But I just wanted to leave home. I wanted to leave New York. Never got in any kind of trouble or anything like that. Just ready to leave, you know, and everything. Just go explore the world and everything. Yeah.
Just sometimes you just feel like your hands are just tied, and it's just like,
Yeah.
or you're just bound. You're like, dude, I need to like break out of this freaking cocoon or whatever, you know. And and it's time for me to leave the nest. I totally understand. I watched a lot of TV growing up, and you saw when the kids were like 17, 18, 19, and I don't know how the fuck they did it, but they managed to leave home.
Right.
In my head, that was the rite of passage. You had to leave home once you turned 18.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I couldn't figure out how to leave, you know, like, damn, I need a job. I need to do this. How do I leave? Blah, blah. Going in the military. Let me look into some more, you know.
Yeah. So what was MCT like for you?
MCT was a lot easier, you know, a lot of rules, but more free, you know, you have more freedom and stuff like that. Some of those same people that all the other platoons and now that was in boot camp with me, a lot of those guys are at MCT with me, the majority. You know, now we're in the same platoon, and you know we become friends and stuff like that. And it was more camaraderie and everything. We especially when we got released on Libo, and I did this one skit of like a drill like not a drill instructor but a sergeant. Like he was in civilian clothes. He was I think it was a staff sergeant, and he was like one of those old school staff sergeants and stuff. Like just curse you the hell out, you know. Like you know, hey, you better freaking hurry up and get back here. Buy freaking zero, like 1900 tomorrow. I'm gonna fucking punch you in the fucking face, you know. And if you ain't here, I see you coming across that freaking new river. I'm gonna punch you in the fucking stomach and I'm gonna freaking stomp your head. Don't fucking play with me. You better be back here, but you better have a good time. And if I see you out in town, don't come talk to me, you know, that type of stuff. And you better rap it, you know, if you got it, you better rap it, all this other stuff, and stay out of trouble. And
if you drink, don't drive. If you drive, don't drink. Yeah.
And I remember listening to that, and we're like, they were serious. And but we listened to it. It was funny too. And then, you know, we get released on Libo, and then we go out in town like looking like boots, you know, wearing a web belt and jeans, and you know, wearing your boots, your regular boots, if not your what do they call it? Go fasters.
The go fasters, yeah.
Like, yeah. And you know, just looking like boots. And I'm pretty sure they did it. I'm pretty sure they did it on the West Coast too, because I was a recruiter also, but I was on the West Coast. So I see that too. You're looking like boots, you know, and stuff like that. So yeah.
Web belts, tucked in shirts.
Yeah, web belt, tucked in shirt, going to the mall, man. Ooh, and wearing your dog tags
on the outside. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
I did all that.
Same here.
Yeah. Wow. But yeah, but it was MCT was good. It was good. It was good times. And then you know, like our leadership too was like, forget everything the drill instructors told you, because they were grunts and they were teaching us. Mm-hmm. They're like, forget all that crap. You know what? Yeah, forget it. Don't come to me saying my drill instructor said. No, forget that crap. We're going to teach you. And they taught us pretty good, man. They taught us pretty good. And they were good to go too. The ones that I had. Yeah, they were good to go. I had this one staff sergeant. He's a staff sergeant. And this guy used to go on hikes, and he'll be not sweating, but he'll be smoking a cigarette and dipping at the same time. And I just remember like, man, Staff Sergeant, how do you do that? And he's like, you get used to it. He was just an old grunt, and he was just doing his thing. And really, 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 I looked up to that guy just because he took care of me and stuff like that. And, he was good to go.
So you're done with MCT.
Yeah.
And it's MOS time. What was your MOS?
I started off as 1142 electrician. I was supposed to go in as communication. I thought I signed the papers with my recruiter as communications comm. And I was going to end up in California and 29 Palms and all this other stuff. And I just remember them telling me like in MCT, like, oh, you're at 1141. I said, what's an 1141? You're an electrician. Electrician? What the heck? And I guess when you sign the paperwork, it says, and I found this out after I became a recruiter, it says communication/electrician. It's like whichever one you go to, whichever one the Marine Corps wants, they'll put you in. So I became an electrician. Went to stayed at Camp Lejeune, went to Courthouse Bay, which was pretty cool there. Did some more growing up there. Amtrak was getting the young Marines, because the Amtrak school's there too. And they were older. A lot of the older Amtrakers, because they had Amtraks there and the school there at Courthouse Bay. And, they're like, hey, come over here and drink with us. And we're like, all underage, so, I did that once and I was graduating then, but school was pretty good too. Did a lot of camaraderie there. Met a lot of people that I stayed in touch with later on too, especially like the instructors who I wound up either working for later on, because they taught the MOS, so they we had a sergeant. He became a chief warrant officer, or they become master sergeants or master gunnery sergeants or something like that. And then you wind up working underneath them or whatever later on. Pretty cool too. I had a lot of good leadership. I had, the whole time I was in, I had very good leadership and very few that I just didn't care for. But the majority are the ones that guided me right, took care of me and stuff like that. And that's like a key element if, when you're in the Marines and stuff. You either have good leadership or bad leadership. And if you have bad leadership, that'll cause, people to just leave the Marines, get out of the military.
Yeah.
Because they're like, screw this, and it's just, it all comes down to who your leadership is.
Right.
Eventually.
Yeah, that's so true. So what made you pick, initially pick the comm MOS?
The comm MOS? So it was LAVs, light armored vehicles. I picked that. That was like one of the ones I picked. And then the second one was it was comm. And then there was one other. And because of my ASVAB score, they put me in comm. But originally I wanted LAVs.
Okay.
Then comm. And then the other one, I forgot what the other one was. Yeah, but it didn't have anything to do with combat. I forgot what it was though. It wasn't combat related. I forgot what it was. But yeah. But that's how I ended up there, because of the comm/electrician on the paperwork.
And for communications, was it just something that you thought that you were going to be able to apply in the outside world, or?
I thought I wanted to, deal with like communications, and maybe later on deal with, satellite communications, and because that was one of the things that fell under there, satellite communications. And I was like, oh yeah, I definitely want to do that, and blah blah blah. I didn't know anything else about comm and everything, what came along with it, or and all the other stuff. But I just remember seeing satellite communication under there somewhere, and that's what attracted me to it. All
right. So yeah. So you're done with school. Yep. Or do we have any more stories about being out there in Courthouse Bay?
Nah. We don't need to talk about it.
All right. So we're done with. I would have done the same thing.
Marine 1169 story continues in the next episode of Chat 62. Semper Fi.
Struggling? You're not weak. You're human. Dial 988, then press 1 for the Veterans Crisis Line. Train support that understands veterans. Stay the course. Thank you, Ozzy. Oof.